Okay, picture this. It's June 2023. You're on your couch, maybe it's a Tuesday night, long day. You pull out your phone, you get that blue light on your face, and you just start scrolling.
The classic doom scroll.
The classic doom scroll. You're on TikTok, maybe Instagram Reels. You're just minding your own business, looking for a good lasagna recipe or maybe one of those oddly satisfying power washing videos.
Oh, I love those. So soothing.
Right. The algorithm usually knows what you need.
Usually.
But then all of a sudden it throws you this massive curveball. You see a teenager and they're holding this bright purple milkshake.
Super vibrant, like almost radioactive purple.
Exactly. And they look at the camera, they give that classic innocent social media smile, they take a sip and they go, "Happy birthday, Grimace."
And that's when it all goes wrong.
The music just cuts. The camera starts shaking like crazy.
Yeah.
And the next shot is something straight out of a found footage horror movie. Like, think the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, a total tonal shift.
That same teenager is now lying on the ground. Maybe they're, draped over a park bench in a playground at night or slumped in some grimy alleyway. And they are just covered.
Absolutely drenched.
Drenched in this purple goo.
It looks like a crime scene, a very, very purple crime scene.
It really does. They're pretending to be dead or, possessed. Some of them are foaming at the mouth with this purple sludge. The whole vibe is that something terrible, something supernatural just happened to them.
All from a fast food milkshake.
All because of the milkshake.
Yeah.
And this was the Grimace shake trend. And it wasn't just a few weird art kids doing this. This was a tidal wave. It was absolutely everywhere.
Millions and millions of views.
People were basically creating these little high-production mini horror films where the main villain was a McDonald's beverage.
Which is, it's a bizarre image to start with, I totally admit. It sounds like a total fever dream.
Right.
But it's actually the perfect, and I mean perfect, entry point for this whole stack of research we have on the desk today. Because here's the kicker about that whole purple goo incident that you really have to understand.
What's that?
McDonald's didn't pitch that.
No, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have a marketing team sit in a boardroom in Chicago looking at a PowerPoint and say, "Hey, got a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's have our customers pretend our new product. Just kill them."
Exactly. Can you imagine if an ad agency actually pitched that? They'd be fired on the spot. "Come drink our new shake. It's fatal."
Yeah, that's traditionally considered a PR nightmare.
It's the opposite of good PR.
It's the exact opposite of what you want. You want people to drink the shake and smile, not drink the shake and start convulsing on the pavement.
And yet, look at what happened. This is the whole paradox we're digging into today. McDonald's completely inadvertently benefited from it, massively.
Sales shot up.
Sales were boosted in a huge way, and they stayed high right up until the promotion ended on June 29th. The company even had to acknowledge it eventually.
What did they say?
They posted on Twitter as the character Grimace and said, "Me pretending I don't see the Grimace shake trend." They just sort of leaned into the chaos.
And that right there, that's it. That's the beautiful, chaotic, and let's be honest, sometimes terrifying world of viral marketing.
It's totally unpredictable, it's messy, and when it works, boy, does it work.
Yeah.
Better than almost anything else.
It really does. So for this deep dive, we're going to unpack exactly what that mechanism is. We're not just looking at funny videos or memes today.
No, we're looking at the purple goo of the marketing world. We're going to look at the psychology behind why we share this stuff, the history of where this whole idea even came from. And spoiler alert, it involves the 90s and failed Australian pop stars.
I can't wait to get to that.
And the actual nuts and bolts mechanics of how an idea can, infect an entire population.
I love that word you used in the notes there, infect, because that's really at the core of the whole definition, isn't it? It sounds a little clinical for something that involves, cat videos and milkshakes.
Oh, it is clinical. The terminology is borrowed literally from epidemiology. If we're going to define viral marketing strictly, based on the literature we've got here, we're talking about a business strategy that uses existing social networks to promote a product.
Okay.
But the name is literal. It refers to how consumers spread information about a product to other people in the exact same way that a biological virus spreads from one host to another.
So wait, in this analogy, the product, the milkshake, the funny video, whatever it is, that's the pathogen.
Yes, the product is the pathogen,
Right.
and you, the listener, and me, and everyone scrolling on their phones, we are the host.
As the host.
Okay.
That makes me feel a little bit used, but I get it.
Well, it's all about something called propagativity.
Propagativity, that is a mouthful.
It's the technical term. It measures how easily consumers can redistribute content. See, the goal isn't to just broadcast a message to a million people from one central tower, like a Super Bowl ad.
Right.
The goal is to create a message that appeals to individuals who have high social networking potential. They call it SMP.
SMP. Okay, break that down for me. High social networking potential. So this just means people who talk to a lot of other people with a lot of friends.
Exactly. You want to infect the people who are most likely to infect other people. You're basically outsourcing your entire distribution network to the audience. You are making them do the work for you.
For free.
For free. Which sounds incredible for the company's balance sheet.
For sure. You don't have to pay for the airtime if I'm putting it on my Instagram story for nothing.
Precisely. But there's a catch, and it's a big one. When you outsource your distribution to the audience, you also outsource the narrative.
And that's when the audience decides your product is a lethal purple sludge.
That's the risk, the mutation of the virus.
Wow.
But as we're going to see, that high risk often leads to an incredibly high reward.
Okay, so before we get into the psychology of why on earth we behave like this, let's rewind a bit. Because while the Grimace Shake feels very, very Gen Z, very 2023.
Very TikTok.
Very TikTok. But the actual concept of viral marketing didn't start there. It has roots that go back a few decades.
Oh, yeah, it does. To really understand the theory, you have to go back to the 1990s. This was the era where this field of medics was really peaking in popularity.
Memetics?
Okay.
This is Richard Dawkins, right?
Yeah.
From the book The Selfish Gene.
That's the one. Dawkins actually coined the term meme way back in the 70s, but it was in the 90s that it really caught fire as a way to understand culture. The theory is that ideas themselves, memes, behave like living organisms.
Okay.
They compete for survival in our brains and in our conversations, just like genes compete in the process of evolution.
So like a catchy jingle is a strong gene. It survives because it's good at replicating itself?
Exactly that. It creates a copy of itself in your brain. You start humming it. Then you hum it near a friend. Now, boom, it's in their brain. It has successfully reproduced. It's basically survival of the fittest, but for catchphrases and fashion trends and ideas.
And of course, marketers looked at this and just saw dollar signs.
Of course they did. In 1996, a guy named Jeffrey Raport wrote a huge article for Fast Company called The Virus of Marketing. You had media critics like Douglas Rushkoff writing about media viruses. They were literally looking at biology textbooks and saying, hey, how can we do this in a magazine ad?
They wanted to engineer a contagion.
That's pretty much it, yeah. They wanted to create something that was self-replicating. And if you want a really early and kind of weird example of this in the real world, this is before the internet really got its hooks into us.
Yeah.
We have to talk about a guy named Marcus Montana.
Marcus Montana. The name sounds like a movie star. Or maybe a character from an Australian soap opera like Neighbours or Home and Away.
Well, he was an Australian pop singer. Or he tried to be. This is a great case study in just generating noise with kind of no substance behind it. In early 1989, people in Sydney started seeing these posters everywhere.
Okay.
Thousands of them. And all they said was, Marcus is coming.
Just Marcus is coming. No picture of him, no buy his new album, no date.
Absolutely no context at all, just that phrase, Marcus is coming.
That sounds almost ominous.
Yeah.
A little threatening.
It does. And because we, as humans, are naturally curious creatures, we'd hate an information vacuum. It worked. It generated massive media interest.
I bet.
The whole community was talking about it at bus stops. Radio DJs were on the air asking, who is Marcus? What is coming? It was this huge mystery.
It's that classic teaser campaign. It creates an information gap that your brain is just desperate to close. You just have to know the answer.
It is. And it was successful in a way. It made his musical debut a major talking point. When he finally arrived, everyone in Sydney knew his name. But, and here's the punchline and the big lesson,
Oh.
his music career was a complete and total failure.
Ouch. So the virus spread, everyone caught the fever, but then the actual disease was just like a mild cold.
The virus killed the host. The marketing worked perfectly. The product didn't. And that's a really early, crucial lesson in viral marketing. You can get everyone talking about you, you can spread the name, but if the underlying host, the product itself, isn't strong, the fame doesn't last. It just evaporates.
It's like being famous for being famous, but then you have nothing to say when they finally hand you the microphone.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. It was a hollow virus. But then, a few years later, we get the blueprint. The one that actually worked. The one that every venture capitalist still dreams about today. We get Hotmail.
Yes. Hotmail, the OG of email services. I think I still have an old Hotmail account somewhere, probably just filled with newsletters I never read and some deeply embarrassing emails from high school.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, back in 96, 97, web-based email was revolutionary. Before Hotmail, your email was tied to your ISP. If you had AOL, you had an AOL address. If you changed your internet provider...
You lost your email address.
Yeah.
It was like your phone number being tied to your actual house.
Yeah.
If you moved, you lost the number.
Exactly. Hotmail was the first time you could take it with you. It was free, it was accessible from anywhere, but they were a startup. They didn't have a massive budget to tell everyone about this. They couldn't buy Super Bowl ads.
So what was the strategy? How did they grow?
Their growth strategy was, well, it was pure genius in its simplicity. It was actually defined by Tim Draper and Steve Jurvetson, the venture capitalists who were backing them. They realized they didn't need to buy billboards or TV ads.
So what did they do?
They just added a little tagline to the bottom of every single email sent by a Hotmail user.
Oh, I remember this. Get your free email at Hotmail.
That's it. So simple, clickable. Every single time you sent an email to a friend or a colleague, you were advertising Hotmail to them. You became the salesperson.
And because it came from a friend, you trusted it more. It wasn't spam. It wasn't a cold call. It was just there, part of the message.
Correct. And the numbers, I mean, they're just staggering. In 18 months, they signed up 12 million users.
12 million in the late 90s.
In the late 90s internet, that's basically the entire population of the web at the time. At its peak, they were getting 270,000 new accounts a day.
That's just wild. And the cost to acquire each new customer must have been, pennies.
Almost zero. That is the virus at work. The users are the carriers. Every single email sent was like a sneeze, just spreading the infection to a new person.
Okay, that analogy is a little gross, but it's very accurate. So if that's the mechanism, using people to carry the message for you, we have to ask the bigger question, why? Why do we do it? What is happening in our lizard brains that makes us click share?
And this is where we get into the psychology of it all, which is, to me, the most fascinating part. There's actually a biological component to this. It's not just a social habit, it's physiological.
Biological, you mean like a physical reaction in your body?
Yes. There's a concept called frisson.
Frisson. Okay, that's a fancy word. It sounds French. Break that down for us.
It is French. It means shiver. It's that primitive feeling of excitement, the chills, your heart rate increases, you get that full-body shiver. Professor Brent Coker from the University of Melbourne describes it as a primitive response that immerses the viewer on a much deeper level.
Is that like ASMR, or that feeling you get when you hear a really great key change in a song, or when the beat drops in a dance track?
That's exactly it. Or the jump scare in a horror movie. Or seeing an incredible athlete do something that seems impossible. It's a moment of high arousal. And viral marketing taps directly into that.
How so?
If a piece of content can trigger that physical response, that little jolt of adrenaline or awe, you are so much more likely to share it. It completely bypasses your logical brain and hits you right in the emotional core.
So it's almost like the content is hacking our nervous system.
Yeah.
It creates a feeling, and then we want someone else to feel it too. I felt this, now you need to feel this.
In a way, yes. We share to process the emotion. We want someone else to validate that feeling we just had. And to break down exactly how to hack that system, we have to look at the work of Jonah Berger. He's a professor at the Wharton School, wrote a book called Contagious, and he developed a model called STEP-PS.
STEP-PS. STEPS, an acronym?
An acronym for the 6 key drivers of virality.
Okay, let's unpack STEP-PS. What's the first S?
The first S is for social currency. And this basically asks one question. Does sharing this make me look good?
Ah, the vanity metric. Look how smart I am. Look how funny I am. Look how cool I am.
It is vanity, but it's also about status. We share things that make us look like insiders. If I share a secret menu item at a cool restaurant or a bit of breaking news before anyone else has seen it, I gain social currency. I'm the person who knows the cool thing. I have value to my tribe because I have valuable information.
Right. Look at me. I'm a tastemaker. It feeds the ego. If I share a hilarious meme, I get the credit for being funny, even though I didn't actually make it.
Exactly. You're curating your own identity. Okay, so next up is T.
T is for
triggers. This is all about being top of mind. As Berger puts it, top of mind means tip of tongue.
Okay, give me an example of a trigger.
Peanut butter.
Jelly.
Exactly. You didn't even have to think about it. Peanut butter is a trigger for jelly. If your product can be linked to a common environmental trigger, people will think of it more often, and they'll talk about it more often. Think about the classic Kit Kat and coffee campaign.
Oh, right. Have a break, have a Kit Kat.
Precisely. They linked their candy bar to the very concept of taking a break or having a cup of coffee. So now, every time you take a coffee break, your brain quietly whispers, Kit Kat in the background. You don't even realize it's happening. The environment itself is advertising the product to you.
That is incredibly manipulative and also brilliant. So you want to attach your brand to something people already do every single day.
Yes. If you can attach your brand to waking up or lunchtime or even rainy days, you win. Okay, next is E.
E has to be for emotion.
Emotion, and this is a huge one. The key phrase here is, when people care, they share. But, and this is important, not all emotions are created equal in the sharing economy.
What do you mean?
Berger found that high arousal emotions work best. And interestingly, positive emotions like joy, happiness, awe, excitement, they tend to share much better than negative ones.
That's actually kind of comforting. That we prefer spreading joy over misery, generally.
Generally, yeah. Now, high arousal negative emotions like anger or anxiety can work too. Think about political outrage or content that makes you furious. That stuff spreads like wildfire. But sadness, not so much.
Why not sadness?
Sadness is a low arousal emotion. It makes you want to withdraw, curl up in a blanket, and be alone. It doesn't make you want to jump on Facebook and tell everyone.
That makes total sense. Sad ads just make me want to change the channel. Or look away. I don't immediately run to tell my friends about the sad puppy commercial.
You mute it. Exactly. Okay, so we have STE. Now the first P.
First P.
Public. This is the idea that imitation requires visibility. The easier something is to see, the more likely people are to imitate it. The perfect example is the white Apple iPod headphones from the early 2000s.
Oh, iconic, yeah. You knew someone had an iPod just from the white cords, even if the actual device was deep in their pocket.
Exactly. Most headphones back then were black. By making them white, Apple made the private act of listening to music a public statement. They turned every single user into a walking billboard for their product. If your product is invisible, it can't go viral. You have to find a way to make the private public.
So if I have a great software product but nobody can see me using it, it just dies.
Basically, yeah. Okay, second P.
Second P.
Practical value. Is it actually useful? People love to help other people. If you send me a link to an article on top 10 ways to save money on your taxes, or a video on how to peel garlic in 10 seconds, I'm very likely to share that because I want to be helpful to my friends.
That one ties back into social currency a bit, doesn't it?
Right.
Being the helpful friend is a status thing.
They absolutely overlap. Look how useful this information is that I found for you. It makes me look like a good, valuable resource. And finally, the last S stories.
The narrative.
The Trojan horse. You don't just share a fact, you share a story that carries the message inside it. Facts are boring. Stories are sticky. The story of the Grimace shake isn't McDonald's has a new purple drink. The story is, this drink is killing people in hilarious ways. The product is just along for the ride inside that narrative.
So if you can hit all of those, social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories,
yeah,
you've got yourself a viral hit.
You've got much, much higher probability of one. But there's another layer to the psychology here, which is this idea of social proof and psychological safety.
Safety. Like, I feel safe sharing this. I'm not going to get canceled for it.
Sort of, yeah. Researchers Fernandez and Sega found something really interesting. They found that consumers don't really care that much about product features. They care about emotional experiences. And when we see lots of other people engaging with content, it creates what they call a snowball effect.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Pretty much. It validates our own behavior. It reduces the perceived risk of joining in. If everyone else is doing the Grimace shake trend, I feel safe doing it too. I won't look stupid. I look like I'm part of the group if I'm the only person doing it.
You look insane.
You look totally insane.
It's just a fundamental human need for belonging. We just want to belong. We don't want to be the weirdo standing all alone.
We really do. And that deep need for belonging is an incredibly powerful engine for marketing. It drives the whole challenge culture we see on TikTok. Everyone doing the same dance is just a mass signal of, I belong to this group right now.
Okay, so we know the history. We've got the psychology down. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts, the actual mechanics. How do you build the machine? If I have a product, I can't just cross my fingers and hope for frisson.
No, you can't.
I can't just hope people start hallucinating purple monsters when they drink my smoothie.
No, you need a strategy. And Kaplan and Heinlein, two marketing professors, they break it down into 3 basic criteria. If you want viral marketing to work, you need the right messenger, the right message, and the right environment.
Let's start with the messenger. It's not just about getting anyone to share it, right? My grandma sharing my post is very nice of her. She's very sweet, but it's probably not going to break the internet.
No offense to your grandma, but probably not, unless your grandma was Betty White, rest her soul. You need specific types of connectors. And this draws really heavily on Malcolm Gladwell's work in The Tipping Point. They identify three main types of messengers. First, you have the market mavens.
The mavens. Okay, so these are the experts, the nerds.
They are the information specialists. They have their finger on the pulse of the market. They're the ones who read the trade journals. They know all the specs. They are the first to know about the new gadget or the hot new band. They're the ones who transmit the message to their immediate niche network. They actually read the ingredients label.
Okay, but they usually have pretty small niche circles, so who spreads it next?
Then you get the social hubs. These are the connectors. These are the people with thousands of friends. They bridge the gap between all these different subcultures. They know the surfers, and they know the bankers, and they know the artists. They take what the maven found, and they broadcast it far and wide.
So the maven says, hey, this thing is good, and the hub says, hey, everyone, look at this thing.
Exactly. And then you have the third type, the salespeople.
The salespeople.
These are the amplifiers. They are the ones who make the message persuasive. They explain why it matters. They're the charismatic ones who convince you that you need it. So the maven finds it, the salesperson hypes it up, and the hub spreads it out.
It's like a little relay race. You need all three legs of that race to actually win.
Exactly. If you just have the hub, they might be spreading bad information. If you just have the maven, nobody hears about it. Then, of course, you have the message. It has to be memorable, and it needs to have a must-see element. It needs to be interesting enough to be passed on.
And finally, the environment.
Context and timing. Small environmental changes can yield huge results. If Oreo had tweeted their famous Dunk in the Dark tweet 2 days after the Super Bowl blackout, nobody would have cared.
And we will get to that Oreo story in detail later, but the point is, the environment was the blackout itself.
Yes. They capitalized on that specific moment. Timing is absolutely everything. You cannot force a viral moment to happen in a dead environment.
And to get even more granular with this, there's a framework called the 7 Eyes by Piriwat and Tripopsicle.
That's a lot of eyes.
It is a lot of eyes, but they are really comprehensive. Let's just run through them quickly because they show how much nuance there really is here.
Okay, hit me.
All right, first up, invisibility.
Invisibility. That sounds really counterintuitive for marketing. Don't you want to be visible?
Well, ideally, it shouldn't feel like an ad. The more distant it feels from traditional advertising, the more likely people are to trust it and share it. If it screams, buy me now, people just tune out. It needs to fly under the radar as pure entertainment.
Ah, so it's masking its true nature. A bit sneaky.
Exactly. Next is identity. It has to match the sharer's desired self-image.
Yeah.
Again, this goes back to social currency. Does sharing this fit the person I want to be online?
Right. Makes sense.
Then innovation. It has to surprise or use humor. It has to deviate from the norm. It has to be weird, like the purple goo.
Yeah, if it's normal, it's just invisible in the bad way.
Insight. This one's interesting. It has to confirm the viewer's emotions. It needs to elicit a feeling that makes the viewer go, yes, that is exactly how I feel.
Relatability. It's funny because it's true feeling.
Exactly. Then instantaneity. We talked about this. Tying into current trends. Timeliness, being in the moment.
Yeah, the Oreo tweet.
Integration. This one is super important for the business side. It has to feed consumers into other marketing avenues. You don't just want views on TikTok. You want engagement that leads somewhere else. A follow, a click, a purchase.
Don't just get the click, get the customer.
And finally, interactivity. Closing that gap between the brand and the viewer. It needs to feel like a dialogue, not a monologue.
You know, that interactivity piece feels like the thing that has changed the most in recent years. Because now we're not just talking about companies talking to people. We're talking about people talking to people. We're talking about the influencer economy.
Oh, this is a massive shift. I mean, the data is clear. People prefer interacting with humans over interacting with logos.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I'd much rather have a conversation with a person than with a corporate signboard. A logo doesn't have feelings. A logo doesn't have a skincare routine I can copy.
Exactly. And something like 69% of marketing departments are now working with celebrities or influencers. But the very definition of celebrity has completely changed.
It's not just movie stars and athletes anymore.
Not at all. We're seeing this huge shift away from traditional celebs actors, singers, and towards social media stars. People like the YouTuber Zoella or the Instagrammer Amy Song.
So why the shift? Is it just because they're cheaper to hire than, say, Brad Pitt?
Cost is definitely part of it, for sure, but trust is the much bigger factor. Consumers often trust these social media stars more because they interact in a way that feels realistic. They reply to comments, they like posts. A movie star feels untouchable, they're distant. A YouTuber feels like they could be your friend.
It's that whole parasocial relationship thing. You feel like you know them because you see them in their bedroom, you see them without makeup on, you see them walking their dog. It feels authentic.
And that value exchange is huge on all sides. For companies, they get instant, high credibility. Look at Coca-Cola's Share a Coke campaign.
Oh yeah, where they put all the names on the bottles.
Yes. That single campaign totally changed the perception of Coke among millennials. Before that, Coke was seen as a parent's drink. It was what your dad drank at a barbecue. By making it personal and shareable, they increased sales by 11% and their market share by 1.6%.
Just by letting people find their own name on a bottle, it personalized a completely mass-produced product.
And for the influencers, it is huge business. Amy Song was reportedly earning $500,000 a month with Laura Mercier.
Wait, back up. $500,000 a month.
That was the report, yes.
Okay, I am definitely in the wrong line of work. I need to start posting some outfit of the day pictures immediately.
It's incredibly lucrative. And for us, the consumers, influencers help solve the paradox of choice. We are just overwhelmed with options for everything. There are 1,000 types of face cream. There are 1,000,000 video games to play.
Decision fatigue is real.
It is. And influencers act as filters. We outsource our decision-making to them to reduce that fatigue and the perceived risk. It's like, well, if Amy Song likes it, it must be good.
It's a mental shortcut for our brains. I trust her, so I'll trust the product. It just reduces the cognitive load of having to shop.
Precisely. We're lazy, and influencers do the homework for us.
All right, let's get into the Hall of Fame. We've mentioned a few of these already, but I want to really dive into some of the absolute best, most legendary examples of viral marketing, the ones that really set the standard. You mentioned Hotmail earlier, but let's talk about Dollar Shave Club.
Oh, a total classic, 2012. Oh. This video is legendary in marketing circles.
I remember this video so vividly. The founder, Michael Dubin, just walking through this warehouse. It was so funny, so irreverent. He's hacking through packing tape with a machete. There's a guy in a bear suit dancing in the background. He's missing a putt on a putting green.
And it was so cheap. That video cost only $4,500 to make.
$4,500. That is nothing in advertising budget terms. You can't even buy a catered lunch for a big ad agency for that kind of money.
It's pocket change.
Yeah.
But the result? 12,000 signups in the first 48 hours. By 2015, that video had 21 million views. And eventually, Unilever bought the company for $1 billion.
From a $4,500 video to $1 billion acquisition. That is the definition of leverage. So why did it work so well?
Humor. Yeah. And that out-of-nowhere quality. It was innovative. It didn't look or feel like a razor commercial. Usually razor commercials are these slow-motion shots of water splashing on a perfectly chiseled face with futuristic graphics of blades cutting hairs.
And a deep, serious voice saying, the closest shave ever.
Right. This is just a funny guy making jokes in a dusty warehouse. It completely broke the pattern.
It felt authentic. It felt like a real person talking to you, not a corporation. It respected your intelligence by making you laugh instead of just shouting features at you.
Then we have the Oreo power outage that we touched on earlier. Super Bowl 2013.
Okay, set the scene for us.
It is the Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers. It is the biggest advertising stage in the entire world. Companies are paying millions of dollars for a 30-second TV spot. And then suddenly, the power goes out at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
The lights just go down. The game stops for 34 minutes.
Everyone is freaking out. The broadcasters are scrambling to fill time. The players are just on the field stretching.
And Oreo's social media team is ready. They had what they called a war room set up, a whole team of copywriters and artists ready to react to the game in real time. And within minutes of the blackout, they tweet an image.
What was it?
It was a single Oreo cookie lit by a spotlight in the dark with the simple caption, "You can still dunk in the dark."
Newsjacking.
That's the term for it. They hijacked the entire news cycle, and it proved that instantaneity and cleverness can beat a high-budget plan any day of the week. While other brands were just waiting for their $5 million TV spots to air, Oreo won the entire night with a tweet that cost them $0 to post.
And it was retweeted, 15,000 times almost instantly? It became the story of the Super Bowl that year, more than the game itself.
And then there's the one that's become an annual tradition. It's practically a holiday at this point. Spotify Wrapped.
This is just a data masterpiece. Every year, Usually late November or early December, Spotify releases this compilation of your personal listening data.
Yeah, you listened to the song 400 times this year. You are in the top 0.01% of listeners for this artist.
And people go nuts for it. In 2021, 120 million users access their apps.
So why do we love sharing our data so much in this one instance? Usually we're terrified of big tech tracking us. We put tape over our webcams, we install ad blockers. But for Spotify, we literally post our own surveillance data on Instagram for the whole world to see.
Because Spotify brilliantly turns that data into social currency. They take your listening habits and they turn them into a colorful, shareable badge of identity. Look how cool and unique my taste is. Or on the other side, look how embarrassing my taste is. Isn't that funny? It allows users to define themselves publicly.
It's the ultimate ego boost. Or ego check. I am a sad girl pop listener. Or I am a Viking metal enthusiast.
And it's so brilliant because the users are doing all the advertising. Every single Instagram story with a Spotify wrapped graphic is a free ad for Spotify. And it triggers massive FOMO fear of missing out.
Right. If you use Apple Music or Amazon Music, you don't get wrapped. You feel left out of the conversation. You feel like you're not part of the cultural moment.
It's so powerful. It makes the product incredibly sticky. Okay, I want to talk about one that's a bit weirder, a bit more niche. The Ghostface real estate listing. This one just cracked me up when I read about it.
This is such a great example of local viral marketing. This was back in 2019 in Lansing, Michigan.
A realtor decides to get a little creative with a listing.
A realtor named James Pyle is trying to sell this century-old home. It's a nice house, but the market's a bit slow. He wants to do something fun for the Halloween season, so he hires a photographer to take pictures of him, dressed as Ghostface, the killer from the Scream movies.
In the actual real estate listing photos.
In the actual listing photos. But he's not, killing anyone. He's just doing chores around the house. He's raking leaves in the backyard. He's carving pumpkins in the kitchen. He's peeking out from behind the curtains. In one, he's holding a sold sign.
That is absolutely hilarious.
His goal was pretty modest. He told reporters he was hoping for maybe 1,000 views. A normal listing in his area gets under 150.
And what happened?
It goes up on Zillow and Realtor.com. And within a few days, it had over 1 million views.
1 million views for a house listing in Lansing, Michigan.
It was trending on Facebook. It got picked up by national news networks, Good Morning America, Fox News. The combined views exceeded 5 million in just 5 days.
Okay, but did the house actually sell?
It sold in 4 days for a cash offer. It became so popular they had to cancel the open house because too many people were showing up just to see the Ghostface house.
So he took something incredibly boring, a house listing, and he just injected innovation and humor into it.
He added an identity element, that fun, spooky season vibe, and he made it incredibly public and shareable. It just ticks all the boxes. He took a commodity and he turned it into a story.
But it's not always a success story like that, is it? Sometimes you open that Pandora's box and something pretty nasty comes out.
Viral marketing is incredibly risky. Once you release the virus, you lose all control of it. You cannot dictate how the the public is going to react to it.
Let's talk about the Blend Tech example, the Will It Blend series.
This is a fascinating case of viral butt. Blend Tech released these videos of their high-powered blender just destroying everything. Marbles, iPhones, glow sticks, garden rakes.
Oh, I remember these. The host, Tom Dixon, in his little white lab coat, "Don't breathe this smoke."
The videos went massively viral, millions and millions of views. They were super entertaining. But when they actually analyzed the audience, they found it was largely teenage boys who just thought destruction was funny.
And teenage boys do not buy $500 blenders. They buy video games and pizza rolls.
Exactly. They were not the target market. So you had all this noise, all this brand awareness, but was it actually converting to sales effectively? Or was it just free entertainment? Virality without the right audience is just noise. It's a vanity metric.
That's the targeting trap. Being famous isn't the same thing as being profitable.
And then there's the risk of negative word of mouth.
This is when people realize they're being played, right?
Yes. The stealth marketing backlash. When people realize they are being marketed to without their knowledge, they feel deceived. The term viral marketing can actually become a pejorative, a bad word. If I find out that a funny viral video I loved was actually just a secret ad for a car insurance company, I feel betrayed.
Yeah, we don't like feeling like we're puppets.
No. And there's also a structural risk. A researcher named Duncan Watts did this work, showing that influence chains are actually really fragile. If a key influencer, that social hub we were talking about, refuses to pass the message along, the whole chain just breaks. It dies right there.
So you're essentially betting your entire campaign on these specific nodes in the network saying yes.
And sometimes you just get regional mismatches. A video goes viral in a country where you don't even sell the product. You've just created a massive amount of demand that you have absolutely no way to fulfill, and that just creates frustration, not profit. Imagine 10,000 people wanting your product in Brazil, and you only ship to Ohio.
It's a real double-edged sword. When it cuts the right way, you get 12 million users in 18 months. When it cuts the wrong way, you just get angry customers or a bunch of teenagers laughing at your expensive blender.
Precisely. It requires this incredibly delicate balance of psychology and mechanics and content. It's not something you can just make happen. You can only optimize the conditions for it. You can build the pile of wood and pour the gasoline, but you can't always control the spark.
So what does this all mean for us? People just scrolling through the feeds. We're not marketing directors. We're just the people clicking like and share.
I think it means we just need to be more aware. We need to understand that when we feel that frisson, that jolt of excitement to share something, we are often responding to a very carefully engineered trigger. We're not just acting on impulse, we're acting on design.
We are the unpaid employees for the brands we love.
We are the distribution network, we are the trucks delivering the goods to the next town, but we're the ones paying for the gas.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the infection of ideas, I kind of want to leave you with a final thought. We talked about those 7 eyes, and one of the most important ones was invisibility. The idea that the best marketing doesn't look like marketing at all.
That's the ultimate goal for these campaigns.
So as marketing gets better and better at being invisible, at blending seamlessly into our memes, our funny videos, our heartfelt stories, how much of our daily culture is actually just a commercial in disguise?
That is the question, isn't it?
Are we sharing stories because they genuinely matter to us, or are we just helping someone sell a milkshake? Something to think about the next time you hit that share button. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you on the next wave.